Hey, yo, Play, we back?
Hey, Coon, I think we back.
Hey, yo, Play, we back?
Hey, yo, Coon, I think we back.
Once again,
Kings and queens of the world, welcome to
KingME,
a podcast on holistic
flyness,
excellence, and the philosophy on how to
win at life.
Peace, family, what up?
Peace, family, what's good? I see the king in you see the king in me. Only reason why we see is cause we royalty. Look, I see the queen in you see the king in me, and only reason why we see is cause we royalty. Because we royalty. Because we royalty. We royalty. We royalty. We royalty. We royalty. KingME. 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 KingMe.
Hey, yo, Coon, what up?
Yo, what up, Play? What up? Peace, King.
Peace, King, what's good? How you been?
Oh, man. Blessed, highly favored.
It's episode 2.
Ep 2.
How you feeling?
Oh, man, I feel beautiful, man. I feel lovely.
Happy to be back?
Oh, man. Daily. Daily. Happy to be back daily. Transition. It's a year of transition. This is a year of shift. This is a year of manifestation. This is a year of dreams, aspirations, and everything that we spoke about 10 years ago coming to fruition.
Man, fruition is everything. You know what's crazy? Fruition is built off of time, and that's the topic for today. It's time. Time. What is time? Are we using it wisely? What is the reality of it? Time. So I shared with you earlier the video of the workshop at one of our elementary schools, our 6th graders, talking about the concept of time, the difference between the hourglass and the round clock, and the significance of it. I just wanted to talk to you about your perception, of time. And how old are you now?
Oh man, a real man never states his age. Nah, you know what? I'm 28. I'm a very grateful 28.
Shout out to all the 28s, 25s,
1989 babies, earthquake babies for the Northern California 28-year-olds. We are the year of the earthquake in San Francisco. We was the reason why the ground started shaking and moving, because we was coming out the oven, kicking through the door, ready to light this world on fire in a beautiful way. Yeah.
1989.
Earthquake babies. Salute.
End of the 80s, when the 80s was interesting. Especially in Sacramento, man. It was
a special turn of events.
Man. Reaganomics, crack epidemic, drug warfare, gang infestation, pimping and pandering. I'm talking about everything. A loss of control, a loss of freedom, shutdown of the industrial complex, which created all type of turmoil all over the world.
More trauma.
Yeah, more and more trauma. And it's really interesting, right? Because when you get to talking about time, you got to start thinking about that type of stuff. Like what got us in the space that we're in at this particular moment right now? What happened over the time span in America from the 70s to the 80s? I'm an 84 baby. Shout out to everybody born in the early 80s, late 70s.
Shout out.
Yeah.
84 babies.
Yeah, it was a different space then. Totally different than now. So the conversation around time. Is time important to you?
Time is so precious that it becomes valuable.
Tell me why.
Time is precious. Time is valuable. Time is priceless. Time is to be cherished. Time is endless, although they say that time can come to an end and we are running out of time. But I truly believe that time is endless. And when you place yourself in a place that some may refer to as heaven, they say that in heaven, right? If you really were to go biblical and spiritual, they say heaven, there is no time. And so when you live in a space inside of yourself that you can consider a heaven, you'll understand that you have the ability to move beyond the time. And now I'm getting all deep, and y'all like, what are you talking about, Cole? What are you talking about? That means you have the ability. Some say, myself, I have an old soul. I've been told that multiple times by some of my OGs, some of my elders. And I believe what has happened is I have pulled from the time periods of way back when, right? I pulled from some of my ancestors the energies of the times of 1950s. Sometimes even my mom was like, yo, if you were born, I feel like you were born in the 50s, and if you were, you would have been walking around with a knapsack and a harmonica, sitting on the back of a train playing music or singing your own songs. And
you had a harmonica?
Bro, I had a harmonica. And sometimes I see those flashes and I feel myself with a harmonica sometimes, like really tapping into my soul, and really just being as free as I possibly can, right? And then sometimes I flash back to this time period. South Sacramento. Modern time with everything that raised me around me. Then I time travel to the future, right? 2035, 2041. When we will be elders.
What does that look like to you?
Bro, I don't know if y'all ready to talk about that right now. Honestly, because of what I saw, man, I feel like we're getting extra deep, and I don't know if the people was ready to go that deep.
Listen. Let me say this.
Tell me.
Time is all around. It's not the very moment of being where you are currently, but it's the past. We talked about in the first podcast, like who's taking the responsibility to look at where they actually are now, and the fact that the picture that you're painting, each stroke is going to be something at the end of the canvas being complete, right? So yeah, you're 28, you'll be 29, you're going to be 30, but whatever you do now is going to dictate 40. Whatever you do at 40 is going to dictate 50. Whatever you do at 50 is going to dictate 80. And everybody else that's coming behind you. So I appreciate the fact that you're talking about you go to the future and you come back and you come to reality and then you go to the past. You're painting your own reality. And I don't think that everybody does that. And that's the whole point of this conversation today, ladies and gentlemen. America, forgive me for saying this, but if you ain't painting your own picture for the consistency of the future, you losing. Because then that means you taking day by day. You're letting the roll of the dice take responsibility for your future, and I don't feel like that's healthy. So I applaud you for being able to do that. You're a dreamer. You're a manifester. You got to be able to do that. So if they don't get it, they better get it after this, because they're gonna lose at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. And when I say about living in your personal heaven and having the ability to defy time, it's literally being balanced, right? Left foot in the past, right foot in the future. That way you stay aligned and you stay present the whole time.
Walking that tightrope.
Right, literally. And that's somewhere, like, for me, what keeps me humble is the 90s, right? Which will be considered my childhood, right? Remembering where we came from, the hardships, even the dysfunctions, the things that we had to maneuver around and through.
Wow.
And then coming back to the present to where I am because of it, but then going to the future to the fact that because of my past and because of my present today, I'm making an intentional decision to make sure that my babies, right, don't have to go through the things that I've gone through in the 90s. And so to answer your question earlier, what I saw when the first time I started like receiving visions and flashes of the future, what I saw, it did kind of scare me a little bit. And that's the reason why in the present, I'm putting my heart so heavily and deep in my city to make sure that my kids' future is greater and brighter than mine.
You got to.
Like, literally. And I'm gonna keep it even more real and more trill, like, and I feel like time is clocking, since we're talking about time is counting down to where, like, it's starting to get closer to where my babies are gonna be here. I don't know when exactly, folks.
I hope you know. Do you know who it is? Whoever you are, you better get ready, because the coon don't play.
It's so intense. I'm so serious about my babies, so I have to be very serious about the mother of my babies, which
that's a whole nother conversation. We're not going there.
Yeah, a whole nother conversation. So serious about you. I love you already.
Been planning for you for years.
4 years. So moving on, right? And so, like, really talking about, I remember talking about time, right? Going back in time to 2008, and ironically, it is 2018. 2008 was when I made a conscious decision that I wanted to start preparing for my babies. And so I knew that.
That's so funny. That happened to me too, 10 years ago. You know, my kids are only under 5, so man. I literally, like, out of nowhere, started collecting children's books. Subconsciously, didn't even know I was doing this. Collecting children's books. I went and got all the Disney VHSs that we've been watching, Aladdin, a Goofy movie, Swan and the Princess, what a Lion King, everything on VHS. Yes, I still have a VHS, and yes, it be working, and yes, we be watching it.
Like creating the future and the reality that you want your kids to have. Pulling some beautiful things from your childhood. Saying like, here, hey, no, I want you to experience what I experienced.
Take these loving, humble, beautiful experiences into your life as well, because it helped mold and shape my own creativity. And if I know that was a healthy piece of my life, that's something I'm gonna pass down too.
And then being a creator of time, also having the ability to surgically remove the things that were unhealthy, that you really felt were unhealthy for you, and making sure that your kids don't have to experience that as well.
Right. So the question that came with the workshop, right, was, are you using your time wisely? Mm-hmm. Right. We always talk about the 30, 60, 90 rule, right? Mm-hmm. You only live 3 30s, and in that 3 30s is based off of this. The first 30 years of your life, right? Let's use it as an analogy with dirt in a garden, right? And planting seeds and growing fruit. The first 30 is you cultivating yourself. You digging up the dirt. You turning the dirt over. You getting all the impurities out. You're going through all these trials and tribulations. Life is whooping you. You learning who you are.
Absolutely.
Going through all of these things, and it feels like it's so painful, but it's not. In order for you to become pure, you got to go through the dig. You got to go through the fire. You always say all the time about gold. What do you say about gold all the time?
That gold, before it can become solid gold, before it can become as pure and as strong and as unable to be bent and broken as it is, it has to go through the fire in order to be refined.
So your first 30 years is the refinement, the fire for your life. So those of you who are 30 and under right now, and you're like, oh my God, my life is so hard. I don't know what I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be at. Mm-hmm. Stop tripping. You're not supposed to know.
Boom.
A light just popped on in my house.
And then there was lights.
Out of nowhere. It was not on 2 seconds ago. So we must be talking that cloth talk.
Let's go.
That special talk.
Let's go.
Right? The first 30s, man, be cognizant of the fact that you're supposed to be impure. You're supposed to get cut up. You got to get the first 30 years of your life off you, so that the second 30 years, right, your number 30 through 60, right, you've already cultivated the dirt. The first 30 years of your life, you got all the impurities out. It's ready for you to plant your seeds so that your garden can grow.
Harvest.
Your second 30 is where you plant the seed. Your 30 through 60 is where you actually find out what it is that you're good at, what your natural talents are, how you're supposed to use them so that your seeds can manifest into a garden. But you got to make sure it gets the proper water. You got to make sure it gets the proper sunlight. You got to make sure ain't nothing running around eating it up. You got to make sure that it's in alignment with the seasons and etc. That's your second 30. And then the third 30, your 60 through 90, is where you're supposed to retire and reap the harvest of everything that you planted. And a lot of us get caught up in the situation and the fact that I've been doing this for 10 years, I should be reaping a harvest, or I graduated college, or I've been in this career for 15 years, 10 years, 20 years, but you forgot that you ain't even hit your second 30 yet.
Yeah.
Like, your harvest comes after you've put in your 10,000 hours. Yeah. And unfortunately, we don't look at life like that. We get pressed. Like, for some reason, America gave us this analogy, right? This blueprint, this design that says you're supposed to have the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids.
At age 25.
At the age of 20 or 22, you're supposed to be on your way to getting married and having a great, phenomenal life, working this 8 to 5, 40 hours a week for 40 years.
And maybe once upon a time, that's what it was.
That was what it was. That was the industrial age. That's when factories were in. When you could go work in a place and make a good living and have the light shut off again.
We must be going to that place.
Where was I?
Industrial.
Yeah, the industrial complex. You know, you could work in a factory for 40 years and have a house and go on vacations once a year with your family and send your kids off with a college fund and have a retirement and etc. But that ain't 2018 America today. It's showing Sacramento today.
That's most definitely. Sacramento is a city of hustling, a city of making things bubble with your mind and mouthpiece and connections and relationships.
Shout out to Rozilla.
That just came out of nowhere.
Shout out to Rozilla.
Shout out
to my brother Rozilla, the Black Academic.
Shout out.
What did he say? He called it the he said something of macromintians, something along the jubilation of anybody from Northern California having a mouthpiece being able to sell salt to a snail, snow to an Eskimo. and sand to the sand dunes.
Gift
right?
the gab,
Gift the gab. Being able to use your articulation to build whatever it is that you want to build. But we forget that path, man. We forget the fact that we could do anything that we want to do. And that makes me highly uncomfortable because people think that I'm going to college or I'm about to be an entrepreneur or I'm working this, this high-end retail job or this high-end job and my life is supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be great at the time that I'm 25. I graduated college at 24. Between 24 and 30, everything's supposed to be golden and great. I don't think that's the truth, though. Just my perspective. Again, please don't judge me, guys. My path has been a lot different from everybody else's, and I'm still standing. So I'm going to stand on my path and stand in my own truth. But
this is your opportunity. If you most definitely have some thoughts, right? You can chime in somewhere, somehow, leave comments. What's your perspective on your 20s?
Perspective on your 20s? Ooh, that's a deep question. Are you supposed to be where you think you are?
Do you feel like you're right on time? Do you feel like you're chasing time? Do you feel like time is chasing you?
What's your reality on time, ladies and gentlemen, young kings, young queens?
I got a lot of homegirls right now, a lot of sisters, those that don't know Kun. I feel like this is an opportunity for us to get real up close and personal. So for those that don't know Kun and those that do know Kun, y'all know that I have a real healthy community of women, like constantly with arms around me, like comforting me, loving on me, sisters like that I love and I protect and we're real close to. I got a lot of sisters, right, that some of them feel like there was currently right now there's like almost like a crisis, a panic of like feeling as if they are running out of time. Running out of time for love, running out of time for marriage, running out of time for being a mother, running out of time for being successful. And I get it and I understand it. I've always been blessed to be that youngster at the table with a lot of older cats, right? A lot of people. From the time I was 4 years old, I was hanging out with the kids that were like sixth grade, a few years older than me. And so I do get that. There was a time period where I had to snap myself out of it because I started living my life too fast, right? While I was in high school, I was hanging out with the college kids and they're having college stress. And I'm in high school still, and I started living my life. I started taking on some of their energies and living my life like I was going through the same things they were going through. And even now, like I have to remind myself, like, wait, hold on, slow down. You're only 28. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have your house already. You don't have to have even your family already. Right. What you have to do is take this time to discover you, master you.
Fall in love with Kun the Poet.
Oh man, I love that dude too. Like honestly, when you get to know Kun the Poet,
fall in love with Kun the Poet.
I love that dude, and I can, and it's funny. Y'all gotta understand. Some people are like probably listening like Kun the Poet, but that's not a real guy. Nah, when you take time to get to know yourself, and Kun the Poet is not just a stage name, an identity. That's literally my heart name. That's literally on a spiritual level. When God talks to me, he refers to me as Kun. And he knows that like the poet in me is our direct connection to how we communicate with one another. And so when I say Kun the Poet, no, I'm not talking about some guy on stage. I'm not putting up a mask so you can get to know that guy and hiding the other guy, hiding Christopher Michael Kun. Not at all.
Kun as in Christopher Michael Kun is his last name. This is not a stage front. This ain't no epidemic of people trying to be superheroes. This is a family tree foundationally given last name.
I'm literally giving you a vehicle to come and learn not just about me, but about the fathers that came before me, and then about my children and my children's children. You are getting insight on on truly who I am. All right, so I don't know why we felt like we had to touch on that.
No, that is important because you just talked about legacy, right? Yeah. And you're not a father yet.
Yeah.
You will be one day.
I promise I will be.
And when you are, that legacy is going to be important. That's something your baby's going to have to stand on.
They are.
And for those who don't have kids yet, those who aspire to be a parent, your legacy is everything. When your kid wakes you up in the morning and they standing over your face.
Man, go ahead.
When they standing over your face, it's either going to crush you or you're going to be able to smile and look at them and be like, hey, I love you. And for me, I'm going to be all the way honest. The best thing, the most rewarding thing in my life, in my 33 going on 34 years, 1984, November 4th, born in Anchorage, Alaska, moved to Sacramento, is to be able to wake up and make my daughter breakfast because I own my time. Don't nobody own Christopher Robinson's time. Don't nobody own Christian Play's time. I do.
Yeah.
I get to create what I want to create.
Absolutely.
I get to make as much money as I want to make.
Absolutely.
Everything is dependent upon me. My value is not based off of anybody else. My value is based off of what I create and what I give to the world. And that's so powerful for me.
So boom, now we talk about powerful. And one of my like dope favorite TV shows, and it's somewhat newer. It actually went off the air a couple of years ago. And those that know me know I love superheroes. But there's this TV show by the name of Heroes. And Hiro Nakamura actually was one of the dopest heroes on that show.
I don't know that show.
I'm gonna just give you a little bit. So it's pretty much different individuals, regular people that kind of wake up one day and they start getting abilities. Very much kind of similar to like X-Men. But Hiro Nakamura actually, he had the ability to control time and space. He had the ability to stop time.
Wow.
And then his power started becoming, as he started growing, they were even more stronger, and he had the ability to almost teleport. Because he can stop time. And then he can move wherever he wants to move. He can go wherever he wants to go, then he can start time back up.
That sounds so familiar. That's exactly what you just said you be doing.
And bro, that's exactly what you just said you be doing.
I said that?
Just now, when you said that, like, nobody owns your time, you control your time. So if you want to take the time and make the time to make money, or you want to take the time and make the time and make your daughter a sandwich in the morning, you're controlling that. And so,
Dad, I'm hungry, I need some French toast. Well, let's go.
And
let's go for a walk. Let's go spend some time.
I'm gonna make a phone call. I'm gonna put them on pause. I know there's been a few times, like, I know we may have some things to do. My brother like, nah, daddy duties.
Daddy duties. Yeah.
But being able to take control of your life, to make sure that to invest time into the time spent with your daughter.
Man, cultivating.
So salute to the real fathers that have, that make a decision to take a stand, to control their input and their output.
Shout out to the queens as well. We don't want to take away from y'all.
To the legacy, most definitely. To the parents, to the people, and it's not even just parenting. It is people. When you are intentionally investing in people, when you are intentionally investing in your family and your loved ones, those that you love, understand that what you're doing is you're pouring into them. Understand that what you're doing is you are you are adding life to their force, right? When you take the time. I was having a conversation even last night with one of my brothers who we spent a lot of time and a lot of years rocking together. Shout out to Lorenzo McNeil, aka Trouble Sin, my tag team partner, and the one responsible for me moving so heavily like I do in the city and in this community and doing this work. But we were talking about relationship being our wealth. And so when you take the time to invest in your relationships and invest in people, all you're doing is just putting up money for your pension. You're investing in your stock for later. I got another cousin that often talks about, and it may actually be a fear of his and it really does break my heart. I feel like we can have real talk on this podcast, so I'm gonna do that. It kind of broke my heart when he said, I don't want to live to be a grandpa. Maybe he felt like, because to him, he felt as if because of the time that he was not able to invest in his kids, that it may not be received, it may not be recycled.
Man, that's scary.
And like, we have some elders, we have some family members that have gotten old and have been, kind of forsaken in their old age, right? But intentionally, but then we have some family members that they spent all their whole lives, they took care of their kids, they took care of their grandkids. So when they became older, that was reciprocated, absolutely. And so that's something, honestly, what I plan to do today, even before my kids are birthed here, I am grinding, I am investing in them, I am investing in their grandkids. And I just pray that in the future, when my time comes, I can sit back like an OG shot caller. I can sit back and be comfortable and watch them thrive, watch them move and live in glory, and watch them move and live in wealth.
Because of what you've done. Listen, America, for those of you who are working, for those of you who are in the college world, for those of you who want to be entrepreneurs, for those of you who want to be parents, don't just do it for today. Don't make success about you. It's not about you. It's all about your legacy. And the time that you're investing now, there's going to be some fruit that comes from that labor, from that ground that you cultivated, from the seeds that you planted. Something's going to come from that. And you got to be cautious. You got to be cautious of what you planting. America, you got to be cautious of what kind of seeds you plant, because you may end up with some sweet oranges like Grandpa's tree.
Grandpa. Shout out to Benjamin Bobby Seabrooks.
Papa Seabrooks.
Yeah, my grandfather, Ashe.
You may end up with some of those, or you may end up with some lemons. You know, we could take the lemons and make lemonade, but it needs some sugar.
Absolutely.
I would rather you plant something that allows you to have some fruit that's going to bear something for your babies to look at and chew on.
For generations to come.
For generations to come. So my question to y'all, number 2, is what are you planting? With the time that you have, if you looked up and it was 10 years from now and you're still doing the same thing that you're getting ready to do tomorrow, and you're doing it 10 years from now, will there be any sweet oranges hanging from that tree? Take a second and think about that. If the answer is no,
you got that. You have that right now. You have the ability and the opportunity to shift that, to take control of your time.
You got to
take control of your future, to take control of your present.
You got to.
And then intentionally get on the path to figure out how can you go about getting some seeds, right? Or how could you go about cultivating the soil so that way the seeds that you plant grow sweet, they grow healthy, they grow plump in the future. But see, bro, as we say this, it just took me to another place, because I know that really, you know, in talking more about our community and even talking about today, we are in a state of emergency to where people no longer, it's hard for people to see a tomorrow. It's hard for people to even imagine tomorrow. Like, even with my own, I have to keep, like I said, I'm gonna keep it even more real. Like my own mother, like I had a conversation about her future with her, and it caused her to kind of just shift the conversation to like, well, look, I don't know what the future gonna hold. Let's just live for today.
And people are afraid, and that was gonna be my next question. People are afraid of the unknown.
Yeah.
But what people don't know is that we are creators. We come from the creator. And I'm not talking biblical, I'm talking spiritual, I'm talking human nature. Literally, women, you carry seeds. Men, we carry the ability to implant inside of those seeds. But with both of us, we create. We create, which means you have the ability to take control of whatever it is that you want to do. You can create anything that you want to do, but they don't teach us that. I get so excited about the fact that I'm literally writing my own script. I've literally created my own blueprint for my own life. And I got my brother creating his own blueprint. We got a squad creating their own blueprint. We've taken our lives back. Take control of your life, America. That was the American dream. The manifestation of destiny says that. Mm-hmm. Be a creator. Take that. Create that. Don't get caught up in the system of the matrix and let the matrix identify and take control of your life when you're working 50 hours a week and you define by what it is that you would do every day, or defined by that degree, because that's not true. So the question that I was going to ask, Chris and Play, right, because people will ask this, Chris and Play, Cool the Poet, I got a question for you.
What up?
How do I take responsibility for my life? How do I take my life back? Where do I start at? If somebody was to ask that, what would be your question, Cool?
Well, like, honestly, I always, because once again, I'm going to pull from my personal. I can only pull from my journey. In the place that I started, when I wanted to take my life back, I had to start with my creator. I had to start with the creator, and I had to get still enough, and I had to get silent enough to ask. Like,
wait. Be still.
Be still. So boom. So like, if we had some visuals up right now on a chalkboard, it would be words being written, and number 1, it would say "be still." So that's gonna be the first tip.
Explain that.
So to be still. So honestly, and this is probably something that is very hard for us to do, especially our community, right? Because we're taught to keep pushing, keep moving. And so, but I say be still. When everything around you gets to moving, be still. When things around you are starting to move out of whack, when things around you start shaking, start even feeling like they're falling apart, be still. What does being still look like? It means taking a second to acknowledge the realest thing, the most present thing, and that's the breath of life that you still carry in your lungs. We can't control anything that had taken place in the past, and the past is literally 2 seconds ago, 1 second ago. But we can control right now. We have no say-so over the unknown, which is the future. Mm-hmm. But we do have say-so over how much air we let out of our lungs right now.
Mm-hmm. I hope y'all was taking a deep breath.
Be still.
Be still. So for me, be still is equivalent to quieting the noise in your brain. Not having things that interfere with being able to hear your ancestors, being able to hear the journey that you're walking on, right? Like, y'all gotta understand, the social media is a influence, TV is a influence, radio, music is an influence, and all of that stuff plays a position in your life. It literally does, and it will 100% help you to dictate and formulate what your life looks like. And if you're inserting information inside of you, in your psyche, in your subconscious, in your conscious on a regular basis, you can't hear your own thoughts, which means you can't create, because you're digesting everything that surrounds you.
Right.
And you'll become that. You will literally become that. And being still for me means taking a second, not even a second. I'm gonna be all the way transparent. When I wake up in the morning, I take a shower. I don't know music. I don't check the phone. I don't put no YouTube on. I don't check no Instagram. I don't check no Facebook. I don't check no Snapchat. I don't do any of that. I don't check any emails. I take a second. I do my gratitude journal. I say thank you for everything that it is. I find a quiet place in the shower. Even if I'm not in, I'm just listening to the water run. I'm being present in the moment. And I'm taking the opportunity to be thankful for waking up another day and having a clear mind so that I can plan my day thoroughly. But I have the ability to do that. I don't know if everybody does that. And in me being still, I can hear what it is that I'm supposed to do. Them whispers come, man, and they be so loud. But the thing that it is that is so poignant for me is that it's a whisper. And if you got all this other noise running around in your head,
absolutely,
I got to get to work on time. What am I going to wear? Oh, my dude's mad at me. My girl's mad at me. Or I didn't call this. I got to pay this bill, and etc. You definitely 100% cannot hear anything.
Yeah.
At all.
And so be still means to simply and literally quiet your mind, quiet some of the chatter, redirect your thoughts. And it's okay to allow those things that no longer serve you, or most definitely don't serve you in a moment, to just kind of float away for a little bit. What's important will be there.
It's gonna be there.
It'll be there. It'll be there after this. But honor yourself. Give yourself this space, this moment, this present. So be still, right?
Be still so that you can hear.
So what would be number 2, right? And you want to restate your question again, Chris, play.
How? Wait, what was my question? I was being still and I forgot. Now I really forgot. You remember what it was? I am a human being, ladies and gentlemen. I don't remember everything that I be saying.
Good thing we got.
I think it was something around like, how do you take your life back? How do you take
responsibility for your life?
So you said the first thing was be still.
Yeah, you have to be still and ask yourself. And how do you take your life back? Ask yourself, what is your life, and what track should I do? So I like to break things down so simply. When you were a kid, and I also like to tap back into childhood, the most simplest thing to me is children. I love children. The most simplest and the most complex things and beautiful things to me are children, babies, right? If you were to take a kid to a park, imagine the first thing that they go to a park and they have the monkey bars, they got the slide, they got the swing, they got even the basketball court, they got a whole lot of field and a lot of grass. The kid may not know what exactly he wants to do at first.
Okay.
So then when they get there, a lot of times, just like in life, you know, you turn 18, you go out to the real world now, and there's so many different things that are going on. There's the swings, it's the monkey bars, it's the slide, and or so another way to put it is, it's this kind of job, that kind of job, this kind of job. You know, you can go to school, you can be a firefighter, you can be a cop, a lawyer, you can be a doctor. Ooh, you can be a rapper, you can be a basketball player. What, you know, all these different things on the playground, all these different jobs or different callings. Which one should I do? Which one is for me though? And it's funny because even going back to my childhood, when I would go out on recess and I would go to the playground, first thing I would take a second, I would pause and I would look at everything on the playground. And to be honest, not everything attracted my attention. Not everything spoke to my heart. But that tetherball court though. That tetherball court.
Shout out to tetherball.
Yeah,
players,
shout out to tetherball. It literally captivated me like all my earlier years of elementary school. Like every recess, you would find me on a tetherball court to like starting in first grade, hitting that ball, even if it was just by myself. And then I would play people. Then after first grade, second, third grade, by the time fourth grade came, I was teaching tetherball. I had mastered the art form of tetherball to where I was running classes at recess time. I had students that were my peers. I had my own little business and operation going. But I first listened to what spoke to my heart. I first listened to what called me. I wasn't listening to what they told me to go do. And honestly, they told me to go do a lot of things like get on the football field. They told me to go do a lot of things like get on a basketball court. But for me, it was tetherball that spoke to my heart. So I would say number 2 is after you be still, listen to your heart. Know that the whisper's in your heart. So now, you know, and that can, so you can ask yourself that question like, what is my calling? What is my purpose?
Here's the most interesting piece. You know, I pay attention to detail, and this is exactly what you said. You just told the world that in first grade, you mastered playing tetherball from first to third grade, right? You played tetherball first grade, second grade, third grade, you mastered it. Third grade, you were teaching tetherball.
Well, by fourth grade, yeah. Because I went to a new school in third grade.
By fourth grade, you were teaching tetherball.
Yeah.
Okay, strip the fact that you were teaching tetherball. Take tetherball out. What do you do now?
Absolutely.
You're a teacher.
Absolutely.
You're an educator.
But the first years, I asked myself, so literally going back 17 years old, I took the moment of being still. I got very still. And I asked the question. I asked God, right? I proposed the question out into the atmosphere. What is my purpose?
What have I always done? And that's so crazy to me that you literally just said in fourth grade, you were a teacher. And now 24 years later, you're still a teacher. So did y'all catch that? Like whatever it is you're supposed to be doing in your life, you probably was already doing it as a kid.
Going back in time. Let's go, y'all.
Let's go back in time.
So now we're talking about time again. We're not getting off topic.
Come on.
Sometimes you have to time travel. Remember that heaven has no time. And so we have the ability to manipulate time. Let's get on our Hiro Nakamura. Time and space. Let's manipulate time. Let's time travel. If ever you find yourself lost, if ever you find yourself without or in a space of some may call it the wilderness, find yourself in a place of transition. Take time out to time travel and ask yourself, who was I?
Yeah.
What spoke to my heart then?
What did I love doing? What could I sit there and do in the dark, in the corner, on the side of the street, at the playground, all by myself, all day, and lose track of the fact that it was daylight and now that it's nighttime? When you were a child,
Absolutely.
What was that?
And
find that thing.
Yeah.
Find that thing. That's how you take responsibility for having your life back.
So boom. So we got so number 1, be still.
Word.
Number 1, be still. Be present.
Be
Be in the moment. Right. Number 2,
time travel.
Time travel.
Find that thing that was a stickler for you as a kid, that thing that you fell in love with. And it may not look like what it is now. Like looking at Coon's backstory, the fact that he was teaching tetherball.
Right.
You wouldn't have looked at that at 15 and been like, oh, I'm gonna be a teacher. I mean, you could have. That's possible.
And not just being all the way honest and transparent with myself. I've always enjoyed watching the inspiration and the light in another person's eyes when they learn something new. And also, I always had a heart to want to be patient with people while they learn, because it was not always easy for me to learn from everybody. Because in order to be a phenomenal teacher, you have to be patient, and you have to be willing to switch your method of delivering a message for that person's learning ability, whatever that is, for how that person learns. And so not everybody has that kind of heart, that kind of patience.
Word.
But for me, that's something I do understand, and once again goes back to, so I'll be all the way real with y'all. My first heart, from the time I was a child, time traveling, the very first thing I always wanted to be was a daddy. I know it sounds crazy, but like 3 years old, I remember like, man, I can't wait to be a daddy. And at that time, that's when me and my daddy's relationship was off the hook. It was dope. It was beautiful. And I couldn't wait to just be a daddy. Like that, go to the park and kick it with my kids and hang out with my kids, but then also teach them, because being a father, being a parent is first teacher, best teacher. You are your children's first teacher. You are the one that are teaching them how to learn. So your method of teaching them is the method that you are. Their method of learning is the method that you give to them. However you train them to start learning. And so, daily I practice patience, because I know if my son is anything like me, he may need a little bit of patience to learn certain things. He may need somebody to take a little bit of extra time to teach him with love, with care, with repetition, with consistency. Honestly, to learn my alphabets and my ABCs, it took some time, y'all. I'm a rhythmic soul. I'm a pattern soul. So after about the 100th or the 1,000th time of my auntie sitting there, and she was getting frustrated, sitting there, and we're going over the flashcards with the ABCs on it. It wasn't until I went to sleep and I woke up, and that pattern, that rhythm, that song was ringing in my head. And I've never forgotten my ABCs ever since.
That's crazy, because that's the life of a poet. Who would have thought you'd be a griot at the age of 28, and because you learned in a pattern sensibility.
And that's absolutely the way I learned. So once again, and that's just giving more detail on how to time travel, how to spend time, how to, some may call it meditation, how to sit back, be mindful, meditate, and go back and kick it with your childlike self. If ever you have a question on who you are, what is your purpose, what is it that you should be doing, go and time travel.
For me, it was really simple too. I had to go back and ask, what would I teach my 9-year-old self?
Right. Absolutely.
I had to go back and figure that out, and that's what led me down my path. Like I didn't want anybody to struggle and go through what I went through. And so in order for me to do that, it was more of a, damn, what would I tell 9-year-old Chris? What would I tell 15-year-old Chris? And then looked around and was like, oh, there's a whole bunch of other 9-year-olds and other 15-year-olds that are going through the same circumstances that I'm going through as well. So if I can help them time travel and paint their own picture and keep some of that trauma and trials and tribulations off of their back by having them learn and cultivate something different based off of what I'm giving them, then I'll be able to bless another individual. Right? So that's another way to do it. So I think number 3, what you think about legacy being number 3? So you being still.
I think that should come a little bit later. So after stillness, and once again, I'm just gonna speak on my journey, and everybody may be a little bit different, but I do feel like these are some real key components. So I'll give you a little bit of mine. So it was the being still. It was through the taking time to time travel, right, and ask the question like, who was I as a child, to figure out who I am now.
And number 3 is
application.
So be still. Take the time to time travel.
Applying that then. Taking that knowledge and that information that you learned from your childhood self. Let the little homie inside you teach you. Let the student inside you teach you. And then take what he teaches you and apply that. Move forward. Honestly, the moves that I make out here is me always honoring my 7-year-old self. I started writing when I was 7 years old. I made a decision that when I was 7 years, and I used to have flashes and visions of me, standing on stages and rocking stages with crowds of people. I didn't know in what form I would do it. I just know that I always wanted to tell my story. I know that I always had something inside of me that just wanted to move, right? I always had something inside. I had this sound inside of me that needed to get out. And so the moves that I make is me passionately honoring my 7-year-old self, my childhood self. Also, on the other end of the moves that I make is me honoring my 3-year-old self. One of the little homies called me the other day, and then another one also sent me a message. And I get these kind of messages and these calls often. And there are a lot of times there are thank you messages or thank you calls, thanking me for, in their words, saving their lives, thanking me for rescuing them and showing them something different, for being their hero. And honestly, like, it's humbling, and really I'm thanking them because truly they're saving me by reminding me exactly what my childhood, one of my first childhood dreams was, right? On top of being a father. But at 3 years old, I also wanted to be a superhero. 3 years old, I used to jump out the bathtub, wrap the towel around my neck, and I fly down the hall like I'm Superman.
Hey, one of my friends said he was Hulk when he was 3.
Ooh, smash.
That's exactly what he said he'd do. He said he would put all green on and run around the house and be like, Hulk smash, Mom, Hulk hungry. Funniest thing in the world. Shout out to Wellington Smith.
Hey, PJ.
Pete Jr., the third Super Hulk at the age of 5 years old.
And now he running around smashing things throughout the district, smashing his future, smashing success. Like, listen, we gotta understand that so this moves us in a whole nother level, right? We have the ability to manipulate things, manipulate time, shift energy, shift vibration, shift your circumstance, shift the world around you, create. Once again, like my brother say, like Play say, we are creators, y'all. We are creators. And so what you spoke of when you were as a kid, understand that in time is going to come to fruition. If you say I'm Hulk and I smash, understand that you are going to smash something in some way, shape, or form. You're going to smash your success, possibly, depending on what energy you're moving in. You can smash things in a positive way or a negative way, but that's dictated by your journey.
Man, lemons or oranges, which one you want?
And so, but understand that you can be, but if you don't take the time to remember the things that you spoke and the things you dreamed of and the things that you envisioned as a child, if you don't take that time to time travel, you're not going to be able to apply. So remember, and I'm gonna state it again. So time travel, right, being number 2. So number 1, be still. You have a question. If you want to take your life back, when things happen, right, and it's normally in our mid-20s, and right now I got a lot of classmates that are in a space of where they've been driving this car full speed, and then it crashed. And now they're like, okay, where am I at now? I don't know what to do. I want to take my life back. Be still. Take some time to time travel. Ask yourself, what is it that you're supposed to be doing? And then 3, once you gather that information, apply it with action.
Yes.
Apply with action.
Yes.
Apply with action. So then, after taking the time to apply that, knock on as many doors as you possibly can.
Build as many relationships as you possibly can.
Building. So you know what? We're gonna add that as number 4. So if you got your notepad, make sure you're taking these notes. Make sure you're taking these notes. As I tell my students, my little brothers, my little sisters, as I'm writing, you're supposed to be doing what? Writing. All right. So word up, write on. And so number 1, be still. Number 2, time travel. Ask yourself, what is your purpose? What are you supposed to be doing? Number 3, apply with action. Be action oriented. As they say in the good book, faith without works is dead.
It's dead.
So if you ain't putting in no work, y'all, you can do all the time traveling as you want. You can do all the thinking and dreaming that you want.
Word.
But I remember as a kid, I made a decision I didn't want to be a stoop dreamer. And honestly, what I'm doing right now is I'm honoring my daddy's dreams that never was applied with action.
Word.
My daddy was the one to put the notebook in my hand, and he wanted to be a rapper. He wanted to be an artist. But that dream of his was never able to be carried out. But I promise you, I'm going to take this ball and I'm going to carry this out. We're getting off the stoop with our dreams, and we're going to make this a reality. We've made this a reality.
That's right.
And so Number 4, build those relationships.
Build the relationship.
So you can't, and going back to what was stated earlier, our relationships is our wealth. Absolutely. And so if you are somebody who has who gets anxiety when it comes to dealing with people, or if you are somebody who have not yet mastered the art of having skills with people, or how to speak with people and how to connect with people, take the time to learn exactly how to do that. Spend some time, go out, go for a walk, go to a coffee shop, see somebody, say hello, go to the grocery store, start up a conversation. The best conversations always start with, how are you?
Right.
Simply, like, honestly, I have some of the dopest relationships based on a simple head nod. Like, honestly, even me and my brother, even me and Play, our relationship started with a head nod, I promise. What up?
Can't recognize game.
What up?
Ty Lopez has an interesting ideology. I don't know if y'all see him. He be all over YouTube with all the commercials talking about the library and the success and the Ferraris in the car. He's to all of that stuff. and he may come off a little strange, but he has this thing called a 33% rule.
Give it to him.
And he says that you're supposed to spend 33% of your time with people 10 years underneath you. You're supposed to spend 33% of your time with people like-minded, and you're supposed to spend 33% of your time with people 10 years ahead of you. And I'm telling y'all, the only reason why Chris and Play exists, the only reason why I've had the experiences that I've had, the only reason that I've been able to cultivate and do the things that I have is because of the relationships that I have. I'm a servant at heart. So if you don't know how to build those relationships with those individuals, it's really simple. Hey, I see you're doing this amazing thing. How can I be of service? How can I help you progress? How can I move you forward? And then you'll be able to have your heartbeat shown. It'll be on your sleeve, and people will be able to experience you the way that they want to see you. I literally surround myself with that Ty Lopez law, straight up. My nonprofit, the way that I teach, that's me spending 33% of my time with people that are 32 years and younger, and cultivating them and giving them the opportunity to be successful. And then my family, my business partners, the people I ride with, the people that pour into me, the people that I pour into, the urban millennial, right? The people that come from the same perspective that I come from, the people that don't come from the same perspective I come from. The reason why we're doing this podcast is specifically because we want to pour into people that come from our demographic, that have the same ideologies, that don't have the same ideologies, so that we can build that same relationship. And then, no lie, Coon and Chris and Play 100% spend so much time with our elders, the 33%, the last law, people who are 10 and plus years ahead of you. If you want to hang out with if you want to be a billionaire, should you hang out with millionaires, or should you hang out with a billionaire? If you want to be a millionaire, should you hang out with a billionaire, or should you hang out with millionaires? And for me, the answer to that question is, I'm hanging out with billionaires on both ends. A billionaire has hella millions. A millionaire only has hella millions. So if you want to learn how to make millions, go find you a billionaire and stick your nose up under the billionaire and see what it is that they do and soak that game up. Because when you do that, you'll be able to figure out how to make the millions, because they on to the billions already. They conquered the level of the millionaires. It's simple. 33% of your time divided into 3 areas. People that are 10 years behind you, those that are like-minded, and those that are 10 years ahead of you. Spend your time there. I promise it'll cultivate everything, and you'll be able to bypass a lot of the trajectories of negativity. You'll be able to bypass all of the things that are painful, because you've soaked up so much game from those that are ahead of you, and they'll be able to push you in a position where you could be successful.
Absolutely.
I'm telling y'all.
Absolutely. Association breeds similarities.
Man,
y'all.
if you wanna learn how to deal drugs, if you're hanging out with cats that's pimping and pandering, or you're hanging out with cats that's selling weed or stealing cars, if you hanging out with 9 of them and you're the 10th one to be hanging out,
yeah, it's gonna jump on you next.
Apparently, over time, you're gonna learn how to do that. You may not be that, but you'll pick up that craft. So be careful how you spending your time and who you spending it with.
And get into the place of being able to get what we speak and what we do in alignment. Like, there's a lot of us that, I got some young people that say, might say something like, yo, I want to be a ball player, but they spend the majority of their times with the homies on the block. but they ain't playing ball all the time. If you want to be a ball player, what you can be, you will be whatever it is that you engulf yourself in. If you submerge yourself in that, I promise you will become that. I've never known anybody who have submerged themselves in anything and that thing not get on them.
Man, shout out to Malcolm Gladwell on that 10,000 hours.
Let's go.
They tell you he says it takes 10,000 hours to perfect a craft. And I'm here to tell you, regardless of how you spending your 10,000 hours, one way or another, you're going to perfect whatever it is that you're doing. If you're spending 10,000 hours upset and mad at what happened at 12, 15, 25, 32, you spend your 10,000 hours being angry, you're going to manifest anger. You spend 10,000 hours learning how to read and write poetry, you're going to manifest being a poet. You spend your 10,000 hours on the basketball court, right? LeBron James, for instance, how did he become who he became? He had been playing basketball every day since he was like 5 or 6 years old. By the time he got 18, he had mastered his 10,000 hours, and he was an animal on the court coming into his first year of high school because he mastered his 10,000 hours. However you spend your time will absolutely 100% define who you are.
Time.
Take the responsibility to look at how you're spending your time in your life. Time is everything, and time literally is not the round clock on your wall. It's not the round clock in the back of your classroom. It's an hourglass, and to keep it all the way trill, time is gonna run out, and you're gonna have to go to the next level. Everything has an expiration date on it, not just your food, your life, your relationships, your experiences, your opportunity. And if you are not ready when that door opens, that door will close, because of that hourglass has ran out. So the last thing we're gonna say to y'all, 1 through 4, is what, Coon?
Be still.
Number 1. Number 2.
Number two. Time travel. Time travel. Go back. Take time, or you can call it meditation. Take time. Ask yourself the question of, who am I? What is my purpose? But just spend time with yourself. Number 3. Apply what you learn. Apply that in action. Start making moves.
Word. Number 4.
Build those relationships.
Man, again, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Chris Coon the poet.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Chris
sir.
and Play.
Yeah.
It's the KingME podcast. We hope y'all learned something. Please feel free to ask us any questions. All the information is up. We appreciate y'all rocking with us.
Peace and love, family. Y'all be blessed.
Ashe.
We out.